All right, we're going to try some of these examples down here, back here. All right, very similar. All right, very, very similar. Not necessarily going to be anything really difficult. All right, so the idea here again, let's write it. Negative 5x equals negative 10. This time I said isolate the variable below. Different directions, same idea. All right, so you're going to see the directions, a lot of things. Solve the equation below. Isolate the variable. Find the value of x, you can see sometimes. So find the value of the variable. So you can see a lot of directions like that. You don't have to write that. I know some of you are writing it right now. Don't worry about that. I'm just telling you different directions mean the same thing. So I want to get this x by itself. And you go, oh, so what does this mean? So first of all, let's ask ourselves, what is the x in this number doing? So you'll hear me say a lot, what does it mean to say negative 5x? And again, remember that means times. All right? So ask yourself, what do I do? So what's the inverse of times? Well, we said that before, division. All right? So I can do it either two ways. I can either do a division sign, or I can do a slash, right? Like a fraction. But I can do division either way. All right? So it doesn't really matter either way you do it, division or like the fraction number. So I can put division over here just to be the same. So what happens is the signs are changing. Times, divide, but the number stays the same. All right, so there's a times negative 5 over here, so I'm going to divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. And the reason is what's a negative and a negative? A positive. We want the signs to go away. What's a 5 divided by 5? It's a 1. All right, so this is technically 1x. All right, and we'll come back to this in a second. Over here, what's a negative divided by a negative? What's a negative divided by a negative? It's a positive. And what's 10 divided by 5? That's going to be 2. So now I say, okay, what's 1 times x? Oh, that's just x. So that's 2, because anything times 1 is itself. Right? And that's my answer. X equals 2. All right? Don't go fancy here. And I'll come here in a second. So here it works out easy. It's 2. Over here it's not going to be as pretty. But just leave it as a fraction or leave it as a mixed number. But don't go to decimal. Just stay with easy. Sometimes fractions are okay. And then we'll talk about that in here in a second. But check yourself. Negative 5 and x is 2. What's negative 5 times 2? It's negative 10. All right, so it's one of those things we can look at and kind of figure out. So once again, try B, see how you do. Press some pause. We'll go from there. So try B real quick. All right, so now we come to C. All right, now we come to C. We can write this. 3/5 x equals negative 2/7. Notice I put the negative on top. And you look at this going, oh, this is ugly. All right, but again, it's just fractions. It means times. So what's the opposite of times? All right, opposite of times is divide. So I can put divide 3/5 here and divide 3/5 here. Now this part looks whatever, but it's, again, what's 3/5 divided by 3/5? What's anything divided by itself? It's gone. It's 1. Because we said up here, 1 times x is x, so I can just say x now. It's gone, so it's just x. Equals, again, there's no way I'm doing that in my head. So I come down here, negative 2/7 divided by 3/5. All right, and this is that whole KFC thing. You know how I feel about KFC. All right, I love me some chicken, but I don't always love KFC. So remember, it's KFC OD. Kentucky Fried Chicken, only drumsticks. But the whole point of here is that you have to remember this is only division. You do KFC. So negative 2/7 times, so keep it, flip it, change it. So this becomes negative 10 over 21. Then I ask myself, is there anything that goes into this? Is there anything can this reduce at all? Well, the only thing that I know that goes into 21 is 7 and 3, and 7 and 3 don't go into 10. So that's my answer, negative 10 over 21. All right, so same idea here. All right, we can definitely check this later on, but we'll talk about that in class later. All right, so same idea over here. What I want to do is I want to change this to an improper. All right, now just remember at this point, some of you are like, Mr. Hyde, you're going so fast, slow down. there's this wonderful thing that they created a couple years ago called a pause button. Pause, rewind, tell me, listen to it again. As much as I know you don't want to listen to this video one more time, but pause it, rewind it, say it again. But if you ever try to do that in class in real life and say pause, rewind, I'll tell you I'm not YouTube, so get over it. Anyway, so we'll get here, change it to an improper fraction. 5 times 3 plus 2. So this is 17 over 5x equals 7 times 4 is 28 plus 3 is 21 over 7. Oh, look at me, totally messing that up. Oh, man. You guys got to find a better math teacher. 7 times 4 is 28 plus 3 is 31. 31. And right there is a wonderful example of why we don't use pen. All right? So 31 over 7. And again, follow the same thing over here. Try that, pause it, go on from there. All right? So try that, come back in a minute. All right, so if you tried that, we're almost done, I promise. I know this feels like forever, but this is one of those things that looks, this one right here, if I could convince you that this is 100 times easier than it looks, I'd be so happy as a teacher, because this is one of those things that just bothers students because it looks so hard, but I guarantee you this is really easy. All right, so first of all, let's look at this and let's say what this means. This is z over 5. Now remember what a fraction means. A fraction means division. All right, so a fraction means division. So let's write it that way. Let's call it z. And I know what you're thinking, Mr. Hyde, all of a sudden change the example. Look at the whoop-de-doo, now it's a z. But again, the variable doesn't matter. All right, it doesn't matter if it's a z or an a or a b or a smiley face. All that matters is it's a variable that we don't know about. All right, so z over 5. So let's just call it z divided by 5. Equal stays in the middle, -1. Now here's the fun part. What's the fun part? Yeah, right. Honestly, but here's the part that makes it easy. What's the inverse of division? Well, the inverse of division is multiply. So I'm going to multiply by 5. Numbers stay the same. I'm going to multiply by 5 over here. So these cancel out, because if I divide a number by 5 and times it by 5, that just, goes away. Try it with your age. Take your age, times it by 5, and then divide it by 5. You'll get your age again. All right? Share with your friends. Bring it to, bring it to parties. You'll be the hit. Everybody will love you. Everybody loves math at parties. All right? So these cancel out. I'm left with just z equals in the middle. Negative times positive. Negative times positive. All right? Is a negative. All right? So again, that's going to be a negative. 1 times 5 is 5. That's my answer. Which should make sense, because a -5 over a 5 equals -1. All right? Now all you do, try F, rewrite it, try F, and you're done. All right? I know you've been probably sitting here for 20, 25 minutes taking notes, but again, it's one of those things where I want you to try this, look at it a couple times. We'll do the homework in class and go over it there. So I know this is going to be, right now you're doing it a lot, but again, I think this is going to be a little effective because you can keep watching this video over and over. Again, if right now your head is like, oh my God, Mr. Hyde, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm so confused. I don't get this. This is so hard. Don't worry about it, because you just did the notes at home, and now you're going to come back to school and we'll do the homework together in class. All right, so it'll be a little bit different. So you won't have to just be by yourself doing the homework. We'll do it together and talk. You'll do it as a group, and I'll kind of go around and see what I can help you guys with. All right, so right there, we're finished, and I will talk to you guys in class tomorrow. All right, take care.